Welcome to Fifth Gear Europe, the series that brings you the very best motoring stories from across the continent. In this show, I test Volvo's new mid-sized, safety-packed SUV, the XC60. Frank Jacobs looks around the glamorous Paris Motor Show. Anette Latva-Piikkila joins Rallycross ace Kenneth Hansen for the drive of her life. And Jonny Smith tries out the latest, fastest version of the Fiat 500, the Abarth. Volvo, Sweden's finest. Makes you think of words like sensible, practical, and airbag. Nice, big, safe words. Words that are going to look after your kids. And this car takes that philosophy to a whole new level. It's a complete showcase for all of Volvo's latest cutting-edge safety technology. And it's called the XC60. Think of it as a mid-size SUV, so it's a Land Rover Freelander or Audi Q5 rival, but without all the kind of, I don't know, wannabe attitude. When you stand next to it, it's actually more like a big estate car than a globally hated SUV. It's also very low impact on the eyes. Sometimes you have to double check and double take to make sure that this is the new car. And dare I say it, even though it's got some absolutely gorgeous detailing, if you squint, tilt your head and have it in this horrible slime green colour, it's actually a little bit boring. Luckily, things get better on the inside. In here, it's not boring at all. Volvo have taken design influences from everywhere. Japanese bar stools, Italian table lamps, and even industrial pots and pans. And it hangs together beautifully. You've got this big, bold sweep of silvery floating centre console. There's this little seated silvery man icon for the aircon that glows green at night. You've got this chunky but angular line to the seats. It's all crisp, clean, and anything but boring. The most popular engine in the range will probably be this D5 5-cylinder diesel with 185 PS and 400 Nm of torque. It plays it safe rather than speedy. 0 to 100 kph comes up in 9.9 seconds, and it only manages a top speed of 200 kph. The other things that Volvo have done to make this car feel slightly sportier than an XC90 have kind of got rid of some of Volvo's better handling traits. You kind of want it to be all soft and wafty, and it's actually quite thumpy and crashy. If I just turn into this corner here, you hit all the electronics, so the car immediately goes and then you get round the corner, it starts to pick up grip and go straighter, and it picks back up again quite severely. But what I really want to test is the raft of safety systems fitted to this car, of which there are just a few. As a rough guide, we've got a PAC, TPMS, DSTC, LDW, RSC, CW, City Safety. Actually, City Safety. Now that sounds interesting. It works when you're crawling through traffic at speeds of up to 30 kph. You know, when you're checking your hair, the car in front suddenly stops, and then, out of nowhere, ah! Ooh. Oh! Basically, City Safety uses a laser to measure the road ahead 50 times a second to see if the car in front of you has slowed down when you haven't. If you make no input into the car, like you don't touch the brakes or you don't affect the steering, it will actually brake the car for you and try and avoid an accident. And there's more. EBL, CWAB, SIPS, WIPS, EBA, BA, Bliss. Bliss? I wonder what that is. Bliss uses a little camera and some clever software to continuously monitor if anything is hovering in your blind spot. It then illuminates a warning light if it thinks you're going to pull out in front of it. Ah, there you go. Definitely works. Now, the problem with Bliss is that necessarily, like this, when you're on a motorway, it keeps flashing because things are constantly overtaking you. It is quite annoying, and when it gets annoying, you switch it off, and then it's pointless. Another issue is that if you're coming up to a car in front of you and you happen to get a little bit too close, you get the collision avoidance light. This red light in the front of the dash reflects on the windscreen. It's very distracting. So at the moment you've got lights flashing either side, a light flashing in the front of the dash, and then if you start to wander around, you get the lane departure warning system playing you a little tune. It's too much information. Now, Volvo realised that you don't necessarily need to be moving to face dangers. So one safety system is all about protecting you before you even get into the car. PCC, or Personal Car Communicator. Now, I just think this is a key, and it is just a key. But Volvo reckon that this can detect whether there's an intruder inside your car by, get this, detecting their heartbeat inside. So, the XC60 is actually very good. It strengthens Volvo's reputation for safety even more. It's a strong, well-balanced, brilliantly equipped, niche-busting little big car. But I never quite get the need it, want it, have to have it urge. It's a great car, but one you'll be buying with your head more than with your heart.
This is the Paris Motor Show. It's a wonderful display with beautiful French girls, stunning cars from all over the world, and I'm gonna show you the cars that you dream of and perhaps the car that you will drive soon enough yourself.
Every manufacturer in Europe is here with their most exciting new products. I'll start with the concept cars. Most won't ever be made, but I'm interested in the ones that might see reality.
There are these concepts that will make it into production, like for instance this mini SUV crossover. Officially, BMW are still calling it a concept, but it's no secret that within the next 2 years we will see this beautiful baby out on the streets.
A lot of companies give their concepts daft names, like this otherwise sensible-looking Mercedes Fascination and this cool-looking Saab 9XR convertible. And if you're rich enough to have not even noticed the credit crunch, here's a more exotic concept car that might just become a reality.
This is the Lamborghini S-Stoke, and believe it or not, it's a 4-door saloon. I mean, you know that Lamborghini is owned by Audi, so I can't imagine Audi selling much more A8s anymore after this comes onto the market, because it's beautiful. As usual, Honda has gone their own way and come up with a hybrid. This is the brand new Insight.
Honda think they can sell this car for less than the current Civic Hybrid, as well as making a decent profit. Details about the power plant are to be confirmed, but I think it'll be similar to Toyota's Prius. So expect an electric motor doing lots of work at the back and a small petrol engine doing as little as possible at the front. Now something we'll see very soon, the new Renault Megane. It's had a controversial start. A French motoring magazine was shut down and the journalist arrested when it published leaked pictures of the new design.
The current Renault Megane is a very successful car, but reliability has never been its strongest part. Renault says the new one will solve that all. It looks quite boring to me, but then again, boring cars usually are reliable.
The engine choice is a bit more interesting than the styling, including 4 diesels which all emit less than 120 grams per kilometer of CO2. Exact details on price aren't available yet, but if you could afford the last Megane, you'll be able to afford this one when it goes on sale at the end of 2008. There are also some examples of city cars, like this electric Lumineus Mira.
It's cool, but where's the other half?
It will do 130 kilometers per hour. though I'm not sure how many people will be prepared to pay 30,000 euros for it.
Everybody keeps on going on about how good Korean cars have become the last few years. Well, this is the latest one.
The Kia Soul. It's a tiny SUV costing a very reasonable 9,000 euros when it goes on sale early in 2009. Kia say that buyers will be able to customize each Soul to their requirements, with changeable interior fittings and colors.
Look at the inside, it's cool, it's fresh, even sexy. I mean, the only problem with Kia is that their brand image still has a long way to go before they can attract younger people. It's rather older people, I think, who would choose for this car because the price is reasonable. We will feature this car later on in the series, but it's so important that I don't want you to miss it here on the show. This is the brand new Ford Ka.
The old car was a huge success for Ford for 12 long years. The secret of that success was its cute and cuddly design, and women particularly took it to heart. This one is more macho. Time will tell if it will be loved as much.
So that's an impression of the far and near future at the Paris Motor Show here. I've seen enough to be reassured that the manufacturers won't wilt under pressure of the crisis at the moment. It will just force them to make more efficient cars for you and me to buy and drive.
In part 2, Jonny drives the new Fiat 500 Abarth, and Anette tries her hand at one of the world's most extreme motorsports.
Oh, this is fantastic! Scandinavia has bred some of the world's best drivers. Its brutal, ancient landscape is the perfect practice ground for men and women to develop truly great handling skills. Just look at some of our rally drivers. Petter Solberg, Markus Grönholm, Tommi Mäkinen, Steve Blomqvist, just to name a few, and they are all from Finland, Sweden and Norway. And today I'm going to meet a Scandinavian motorsport legend who is more successful than all of those drivers put together. This is what he drives. It's a Citroën C4 Rallycross car with a 0 to 100 time less than 2.5 seconds, faster than a Bugatti Veyron. It has 525 PS, which is much more than Sébastien Loeb's C4 rally car. And all this from a 2-liter engine. And the driver is 14 times European Rallycross champion Kenneth Hansen. And he's giving me the passenger ride of my life.
I feel like I can't breathe when he's braking. It's amazing. There's 6 gears in this car, and I think Kenneth is using the 3 and the 4 all the time. I have never enjoyed a ride like this before.
So is Rallycross just a powerful version of rally driving?
Rallycross is a mixture, a little from racing and rallying. We do about 50% tarmac and 50% gravel on short circuits that are between 1,000 to 1,200 meters long. We do them with other cars, so it means that we do with 5 or 6 cars in each heat or final. And it's a little like, let's say, like speedway, very intensive and close racing.
If you compare your C4 to, for example, Sébastien Loeb's WRC C4, what are the biggest differences between those two cars?
The rally car has more technology in the car, more electronics, and so it's easier to drive. But overall, I mean, the rallycross car is faster if you have a good circuit and a good grip.
It was time for me to have a go. Kenneth's car is worth about 250,000 euros, so he wasn't really that keen to hand over the car keys. However, he'd found me a pretty good substitute, this 212 PS Rallycross Saxo. I've been test driving road cars for 6 years, but I've never driven anything like this before. Rather worryingly, Kenneth seemed happy to just let me have a go.
I'll have a go.
Oh, this is
fantastic. I am feeling this. You know, the acceleration is fantastic. I like it, and it brakes really, really well. Yeah, that was nice. It just turns really, really great.
Trying to drive flat out with Scandinavia's most successful driver ever sitting next to you is certainly nerve-wracking. After a few laps, Kenneth gave me his initial impressions of my rally skills.
I think it went very well. You have a good feeling with the car and so, and the feeling for Rallycross is really to find the grip.
Yeah.
To get the speed out of the corners as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And I think you have the feeling there. On the normal conditions, if you get in the loose, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
A second is just going.
Of course, it feels, you know, terrific to go on big slides, but it's not the fastest way.
No, it takes a long time.
After the tips from Kenneth, I set off to try and impress.
Here we go again. Now it's a little bit slippery because it started to rain. So it's a little bit more difficult to drive at the moment, but I'm coping it. I get a good, very good slide in here. Just need to keep on the inside lane. As Kenneth is there showing me. So it's the same as in the truck. Don't go too fast into corners because you need to come really fast out of the corners. Kenneth was saying to me that next year they are going to have a team with 2 drivers. And I need to find out whether he would want me to drive the other car.
Surprisingly, an offer didn't come my way. But my brief taste of Rallycross has taught me to appreciate the incredible skills of these drivers, and this man in particular.
Carefully leaving the 21st century behind, moulding their hair into an Elvis quiff and squeezing into their drainpipe trousers, Fiat went back to the 50s when they remade their 500.
We made the Fiat 500 fifth gear's best small car of the year 2007, but the best has just got better because Fiat's baby has been mating with scorpions.
Oh yeah, it's the 500 Abarth. Abarth are the famous old Italian tuners who make Fiats fast. They've given the 500 a broad-shouldered body kit with twin exhausts, tailgate spoiler and rear diffuser. But the biggest change is under the bonnet. The meek little prepubescent engine has suddenly had a shot of testosterone and a turbocharger to give it 137 PS, but mercifully without the acne or wet dreams.
So, do we have a juvenile delinquent or a well-mannered youth? If you've ever wanted to know what an Italian temper tantrum sounds like, it sounds a bit like an Abarth exhaust. Wow, this really shreds. Gearbox is good, shame it's a 5-speed, but it's very tight. Hard down on the Brembo brakes like that, down through the gears. This hits 204 kilometers an hour, top end, and it weighs less than a ton. 930 kilos this car weighs. 0 to 100 kilometers, 7.9. Not shabby for a 1.4. Suspension's been stiffened significantly, very stiff ride, but boy, does it corner and dodge Italian potholes well. Abarth to Fiat is what the M division is to BMW or AMG to Mercedes. The difference being is, Abarth just seems a bit more mad and leery. I reckon the AMG boys go to work wearing sharp suits. I reckon the Abarth boys go to work with nothing on and a big fat cigar on the go.
But not everything about the Abarth is good news. Like the wretched GSI, which sounds sporty, but it actually stands for Gear Shift Indicator.
And it has a big light saying shift up whenever it thinks you should shift up for maximum economy. It's kind of weird having an economy gauge on a car with an Abarth performance badge.
After a while, this started to get on my nerves.
It's telling me to shift up again. Shift up, shift up. No, 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 I'm not going to shift up again. I'm going to stay in third. I'm going to go beyond 4,000 because I like the sound. No, I'm not going to change up. No, no, I'm not.
Problem solved, which allowed me to explore more appealing features of the car, like this, the sport button.
I'm going to put it in sport mode now, and immediately you can feel the throttle response changes. There's more torque, and it adds weight to the steering wheel the faster I go. So it feels like everything's been tightened up and turned into a bit of a race machine. If you've ever had a bad day at work and you've thought, I'm going to go home and just drink beer, don't. Go the long way home in the Abarth 500. And then do it again. And then do it again. And then do it again. And then again. Find the curviest piece of road you can and just put the foot on the mat. It's one of the most enjoyable cars I've driven in the last couple of years.